Hello Dub Nation, it's always a thrill to connect with you, especially as we're about to reveal the latest news that could shape the fate of our beloved Golden State Warriors. But before we dive into this whirlwind of information, let me make a friendly request. Show us some love by clicking the like button to strengthen our bond, and hey, if you are not subscribed yet, join our channel for a thrilling and emotional journey. Don't forget to turn on notifications to stay ahead of the game. Predicting where the Golden State Warriors will finish in the Western Conference next season. The Western Conference is set to be fiercely competitive once again, and the Golden State Warriors will have a tough road ahead after finishing 10th last season. Despite off-season changes that have improved the team, it's unlikely they'll leap into the top tier of Western Conference contenders. Where will the Golden State Warriors finish after the 2024-25 regular season? The Western Conference is expected to be even more competitive than last season, where the Warriors missed the playoffs despite finishing 10 games above .500. The Memphis Grizzlies are poised for a quick recovery after a spate of injuries, the Houston Rockets are likely to continue their ascent towards playoff contention, and the San Antonio Spurs will only improve with former Warriors Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes joining young star Victor Wembanyama. So, where do the Warriors stand in this challenging landscape? Predictions vary widely, with some metrics placing them as high as 4th, as reported by Anthony Slater of The Athletic. ESPN's Tim Bontemps also believes the Warriors have a real shot at finishing in the top 4. However, there are more pessimistic takes, such as NBA legend Charles Barkley's recent comment that the Warriors will be even more mediocre next year. It's reasonable to argue that the Warriors haven't improved enough to surpass many teams that finished above them last season or to fend off challenges from teams below. Yet, there are 4 key reasons for a more optimistic outlook on what the Warriors can achieve this season. Improved roster. While the off-season didn't bring drastic upgrades like acquiring Paul George or Lauri Markkanen, the roster is still stronger than last season. Trade flexibility. Unlike some of their Western Conference rivals, the Warriors have the assets and financial flexibility to make significant trades before the February deadline. This potential for mid-season improvements shouldn't be overlooked, despite some doubts after failed attempts to land George and Markkanen. Younger roster. With the departures of Klay Thompson and Chris Paul, the Warriors have a younger squad, which should help them endure the grind of a long regular season. This youth injection not only mitigates injury risks but also brings more consistent energy. Draymond Green's return. It's unlikely that Draymond Green will miss 21 games due to suspension again. If last season's incidents with Rudy Gobert and Jusuf Nurkic hadn't occurred, the Warriors might have won 5 or 6 more games, potentially making them a 50-win team with a secure playoff spot. There are many other factors that could influence the Warriors' success. Stephen Curry, still the centerpiece of the team, wasn't even mentioned yet, but his impact is undeniable. Additionally, the Warriors lost several close games last season, where victories slipped through their fingers. The Warriors should be better this season, and as a result, this prediction places them at 8th in the West. They'll likely need to navigate the play-in tournament, but they should have a strong chance to secure a playoff spot. One of the Grizzlies or Rockets could surpass them, yet the Warriors might finish ahead of teams like the Clippers, Pelicans, Lakers, and Kings, securing a place among the top 8. The Warriors' biggest X-factor next season isn't Kuminga or Podziemski. When considering the biggest X-factors for the Golden State Warriors heading into the upcoming season, most would instinctively point to the immensely talented young duo of Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Podziemski. The duo's individual growth is widely seen as the most realistic path for the Warriors to return to contention, especially since the franchise chose to keep Kuminga and Podziemski this offseason rather than trading them for a more proven star. In a recent article analyzing each NBA team's biggest X-factor for the 2024-25 season, Bleacher Report's Grant Hughes identified Kuminga as that player for Golden State. While there's certainly a case to be made for Kuminga or even Podziemski, they aren't the only ones in this conversation. Andrew Wiggins might be the true X-factor for the Golden State Warriors ahead of the 2024-25 season. It's almost a given that Kuminga and Podziemski will continue to develop. They're on an upward trajectory, and it's just a matter of how steep that climb will be. However, a player whose output is far less predictable heading into the new season is veteran forward Andrew Wiggins. In just 2 years, Wiggins has gone from being the second-best player on a championship team to having arguably the worst season of his decade-long career. The Warriors are highly dependent on the Canadian forward having a bounce-back year in 2024-25, but how confident can we be that it will actually happen? This uncertainty has always been part of Wiggins' enigma. He's an extraordinarily talented player with the potential to perform at an all-star level, yet he can go through stretches of games, quarters, or even entire weeks with little to no impact. At 29, Wiggins should be in his prime, not coming off the worst season of his career. Personal issues have added a layer of complexity to his situation that doesn't apply to Kuminga, Podziemski, or most others on the roster. Wiggins has missed time in each of the last 2 seasons due to personal matters, and now he has reportedly cancelled a trip to China due to a family emergency, according to his agent. The Warriors will continue to support Wiggins through this delicate situation, but it makes it all the more challenging to set on-court expectations for their starting forward as he enters his 11th season. Despite all the ups and downs, the Warriors are counting on Wiggins not only to be their primary point of attack defender but also one of their top scorers, especially now, with Klay Thompson no longer on the roster. Wiggins could bounce back next season, have the best year of his career, and re-enter the All-Star conversation. On the other hand, he could miss a significant number of games, perform even worse than last season, be permanently relegated to the bench, or even be traded mid-season. This wide range of possibilities arguably makes him a bigger X-factor for the Warriors than any of their young players or anyone else on the roster heading into the new season. Former Warriors guard deemed the ultimate X-factor for his new team. The sight of Klay Thompson donning a Dallas Mavericks jersey is bound to be surreal for Golden State Warriors fans, even with months to prepare. His debut on October 24 against the San Antonio Spurs will undoubtedly feel strange. Thompson's unceremonious departure from the Warriors has sparked much debate about how it will affect the franchise, both in terms of identity and the elite shooting that the 5-time All-Star consistently delivered. While the Warriors may be less concerned about how Thompson fits with the Mavericks, it's a subplot worth watching as the 34-year-old embarks on an entirely new chapter in his career. Klay Thompson identified as the Dallas Mavericks' biggest X-factor heading into next season. Thompson's reliability waned in his final year with the Warriors, leading to frustration among fans and even a temporary demotion to the bench mid-season. The big question now is whether these issues will persist in Dallas, or if a new environment will reignite his performance. This uncertainty makes the veteran sharpshooter such an intriguing piece for the Mavericks next season. Grant Hughes of Bleacher Report recently highlighted Thompson as the team's most critical X-factor in an article examining each NBA team's biggest question mark. If he's willing to accept a reduced role, primarily feeding off Luka Doncic's playmaking, Thompson could be a tremendous spacing asset for a Dallas offense that, at times, seems unstoppable, Hughes wrote. The upside is tantalizing. Thompson could be the perfect complement to the defensive attention drawn by Doncic and Kyrie Irving. However, as Hughes points out, this requires Thompson to embrace a diminished role, rather than continuously striving to reclaim his former All-Star caliber play. This struggle has led to a less efficient version of Thompson since his return in January 2022, coupled with a noticeable decline in his defensive abilities. Last season, his fluctuating impact was evident. The Warriors had a net rating of -0.5 with Thompson on the court, compared to +7.1 when he was off. Will this dynamic shift with the Mavericks? Only time will tell, but it could very well be the key factor in determining whether the reigning Western Conference champions can mount another deep playoff run next season.